So first let's start with some lower work. The extension pole is ideal for work like this. Some may choose to use a short A-frame ladder for a job like this, but we will see that actually the extension pole is not only safer but also much faster. To increase speed, use the full width of the blade to cover the window in fewer strokes. This is achieved by pulling the squeegee across almost vertical and minimizing the amount of overlap. To start with, we mop the window. This is how not to do it. Notice that the top edge is soaked. This could easily cause runs later. Another common mistake he is making is to make straight downward pulls. Since he didn't cut in at the top edge, there remains a lot of tidying up to do. Doing straight pulls of the squeegee like this is not a good way to use an extension pole. Very likely it will leave vertical lines. These lines can be avoided by doing diagonal strokes or by using the squeegee at a slight angle with an angle adapter. This causes the water to run up the blade, creating a dry edge and eliminating vertical lines. You only need to use the extension pole for the upper half of a window like this. The rest can be finished using the two-handed technique we saw earlier. This time the mopping action is good. The applicator is going right up to the top edge but hardly touching it, not soaking it at all. If you do get the top edge wet, then run a cloth over it before you squeegee. Cut in at the top edge by drawing the water away from the frame with a few short downward strokes of the squeegee. We'll call this feathering. Turn the blade and run along the top edge. Use little pressure so that you can feel the frame as a guide. At the opposite corner, complete the stroke by pulling downwards. We'll call this the 7 technique. Now cut into the dry area just above the level of remaining solution by making rainbow shapes. On the last stroke, tap off the excess water. Feather the top edge again and pull down with the blade angled slightly inwards. Use one arm to steady the pole, the other arm to steer it. Any detailing can be done by hanging the cloth over the pole and running it along the edges of the frames. This works fine, but notice that the cloth can easily fall off. You could use an elastic hairband to secure the cloth, or alternatively use a clamp like this one. The clamp can also be used to hold a sponge to clean framework. It is common practice to wipe the squeegee blade after a couple of strokes. However, this is unnecessary. Just tap the blade on the window a couple of times to remove excess water. Mopping a few windows at a time is a good idea. Be careful not to mop too many though, or the water will dry. If that happens, then the water will not be carried away as the squeegee passes, causing a show effect on the window. Just mop as many as you can clean. Use of an angle adapter is essential if you want to use an extension pole to its full potential. This is especially useful for tight confined spaces or for working over obstacles. The 7 technique is the easiest technique to master when using an extension pole. We can see here that it is quicker to work the window from side to side or by fanning. By using the angle adapter inverted like this, it is possible to steer the squeegee using a screwdriver action off the wrist. This works well when cleaning windows over obstacles. Notice the use of the shoulders and body position to allow the turning of the blade. Remember that the rubber blade must run sharp on the window. You need to maintain the pole at the correct angle to ensure a good finish. With practice you can turn the squeegee blade on a normal pole. By stepping side to side and using your shoulders, it does definitely speed up the job, and you will not get any vertical lines from downward strokes. Now we'll go a little higher. This is a modular extension pole. It's still telescopic, but sections can be removed when not needed. It's a good idea to keep some sunglasses handy. Looking up at windows when the sun is reflecting can not only be uncomfortable, but is obviously bad for your eyes. When working with tools at height, make sure that they are secured safely so as not to fall off. This is a locking cone. The holes in the handle of the equipment we saw earlier allow the locking cone to keep tools securely in place while using it at height. This applies to the applicator, the squeegee and the scraper tool. On narrow windows like this one, choose a blade size which is just over half the width of the window. Squeegees work best if the window is wet. Pulling the squeegee on a dry window is likely to leave streaks, so if you use a squeegee that is too long, you will only have a couple of inches width of remaining solution and the rest a dry window. Notice that both pulls of the squeegee were slightly diagonal, being inclined towards the centre of the window. Even stickers can be removed using an extension pole with a 4-inch scraper attached to the locking cone. Be sure that the window is wet when using a scraper. This combination tool is called the vice versa. With this tool, there is no need to lower the pole to change tools. Simply turn the tool over to alternate between applicator and squeegee. This is useful on a hot day when the water would dry in the time it takes to switch tools. When cleaning large high windows, use plenty of water so as to avoid having to lower the pole very often to wet the applicator. The higher the pole, the wider the angle of the pole should be to ensure the right angle of the rubber on the window, unless you use an angle adapter to compensate where the space is restricted. When working at height like this, there is some inevitable flexibility on the pole. Make slight movements so as to keep control of the tool and keep it close to the window. When slackening the sections, be careful not to let the pole drop quickly and catch your fingers. Even these internal windows can be cleaned effectively using an extension pole. These windows have fairly deep ledges. To clean the water from the ledge, we have set a 90-degree angle on the angle adapter and a 45-degree angle on the swivel handle squeegee. Wrap a cloth tightly round the angle adapter above the wing nut. Now run the squeegee along the sill and draw off the water. The drips can then be cleaned up with the cloth by flipping the tool around. We hope you have enjoyed this first in the series of advanced window cleaning skills. By applying what you have learned in the course of this DVD, you will find that you can increase your speed, increase your job satisfaction, and minimise the need for working at height, even if you don't have a water-fed pull. However, water-fed pull systems are a definite asset to any modern-day window cleaner. In the next DVD of this series, we'll be taking a comprehensive look at how to use water-fed pulls. We'll leave you with some footage of real jobs in action, putting into practice what we've learned. Yes, window cleaning, it's not rocket science, but it does involve skill.